out of touch and it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people and its lived experience.
So, there's this guy named Luigi, and Luigi just unalived someone. Yes, you heard that right. And people are actually applauding him for it. Talk about a whirlwind of contradictions. Luigi's not your average guy though. He was a star student, the valedictorian of his high school class, and he even went on to an Ivy League university. Everyone who meets him says he's a total charmer, kind, personable, and always the guy you want at the party. Life seemed to be treating him well. In his 20s, Luigi decides to shake things up and move to Hawaii. Why not, right? He's got a remote job that lets him work from anywhere, and Hawaii sounds like paradise. Once there, he dives headfirst into the island lifestyle and takes up surfing. But here's where things get complicated. Luigi has struggled with back pain since he was a kid, thanks to a condition called spondylolisthesis. You'd think surfing might help him unwind, but instead, it makes things worse. A lot worse. The constant strain aggravates his condition to the point where his back pain becomes unbearable. At one point, it's so bad that Luigi ends up bedridden for an entire week. Even after he's able to move around again, the pain sticks with him like an unwelcome shadow. Every day becomes a grueling test of endurance. Luigi throws himself into finding solutions. He devours books about chronic back pain, researches endlessly, and tries every possible remedy he can find. But nothing works. The pain consumes him, derailing his entire life. He can't sleep properly. Surfing, the passion that brought him joy in Hawaii, is now out of the question. He's even struggling with intimacy and connection. An active life in paradise is slipping further and further out of reach. Eventually, Luigi has no choice but to leave Hawaii. His dream of a carefree, beach-filled existence shatters under the weight of his relentless back pain. He relocates, but wherever he goes next, things only seem to spiral downhill. The pain is unrelenting. His legs sometimes go numb, he's constantly fatigued, and no matter what he tries, nothing offers relief. On top of it all, there's speculation, and let's be clear, this part isn't fully confirmed, that Luigi's been locked in a draining battle with his health insurance provider. The system is a nightmare, and he's been fighting tooth and nail to get his treatments covered. Unfortunately, things take a predictable turn for the worse, because let's be honest, dealing with chronic pain and health insurance rarely ends well. At some point, Luigi's condition reaches a breaking point, and he finds himself rushed to the ER. It's a wake-up call, and the doctors tell him there's no avoiding it. He needs back surgery. His life has become unlivable without it. The cost? Astronomical. But what choice does he have? Desperate to reclaim some sense of normalcy, Luigi schedules the surgery and goes through with it. The procedure is a spinal fusion surgery, a serious operation where surgeons fuse parts of the spine together to stabilize it and reduce pain. And surprisingly, it works. Just a week after surgery, Luigi begins to notice a difference. His pain starts to subside. Slowly but surely, he regains the ability to live the life he's been dreaming about. He begins to rebuild his strength, and before long, he's doing things he could barely imagine just months earlier. Luigi even goes on a backpacking adventure through Asia, a journey that takes him to Japan, where he rediscovers himself. The travel, the culture, and the freedom to explore are exactly what he needs to heal mentally and physically. For the first time in what feels like forever, life seems to be turning around. But behind the scenes, a different kind of battle is still raging. Based on how health insurance works in the US, it's suspected that Luigi spends much of this time locked in a draining struggle with his insurance provider. They're giving him the classic runaround, pushing back on covering the cost of his spinal surgery. No matter how much he pleads, argues, or documents his case, they refuse to make things easy. It's a nightmare that drags on, clouding what should have been his recovery period. By the time Luigi returns to the US, he's completely fed up. He's furious with the healthcare system and the seemingly endless red tape of insurance companies. And that's when something snaps. Luigi makes a life-altering decision. He's going to take matters into his own hands. And this isn't just any plan, it's a shocking, jaw-dropping scheme. Luigi decides to target the CEO of one of these companies. To prepare, he begins cutting ties with everyone he knows. He distances himself from friends and family, slowly fading into the background. Social media? Gone. He vanishes without a trace, ghosting everyone in his life. For months, Luigi goes completely off the grid, laying the groundwork for something unthinkable. Luigi, now fully committed to his shocking plan, takes meticulous steps to prepare. First, he acquires several fake IDs to obscure his identity. Then, using a 3D printer, he creates a pew-pew and a silencer, building everything he needs piece by piece. But Luigi doesn't stop there. He adds a personal chilling touch. On the casings of 3 bullets, he carefully etches the words, "Deny, defend, depose." This phrase isn't random. It's a pointed reference to the infamous delay, deny, defend strategy, a tactic notoriously associated with how some American health insurance companies handle claims, leaving desperate people without the care they need. With his preparations complete, Luigi sets his plan in motion. He boards a Greyhound bus, which is believed to have departed from Atlanta, and takes the long journey north to New York City. After arriving, he checks into a modest hostel, blending in among the bustling city's millions. For 10 days, Luigi waits in quiet anticipation, using the time to finalize every detail of his next move. Then, early one morning, the moment arrives. Luigi leaves the hostel, walking briskly through the city streets and heads to the Hilton Hotel. Once there, he takes up a position near the entrance and waits patiently. For about an hour, he watches the comings and goings of hotel guests and staff, scanning for his target. Finally, his moment comes. His target is Brian, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare, the largest health insurance company in the US, and, in Luigi's mind, the face of everything that's wrong with the healthcare system. UnitedHealthcare is notorious for denying claims, and millions of Americans loathe the company. Luigi's frustration mirrors the sentiment of many, his anger compounded by the pain, denial, and bureaucratic battles he's endured. Brian is here for an investor conference, likely to boast about soaring profits and share prices, all while people like Luigi are left to suffer. Luigi watches as Brian approaches the hotel, walking confidently toward the entrance. Then, in a swift and calculated move, Luigi walks up behind him. He raises his pew-pew and, without hesitation, doof, 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 fires 3 shots. The bullets hit their mark and Brian stumbles forward, collapsing to the ground. The scene is chaotic and every second of it is captured on the hotel's security cameras. Now, while I obviously can't show you the moment of the murder, here's a look at the scene. You can see Brian here, and right there, that's Luigi. The mission, as horrifying as it sounds, is accomplished. Luigi fires his shots, and it's done. But he knows he can't stick around. The police will be on their way in no time. Without wasting a second, Luigi grabs one of those bike share e-bikes nearby and makes his escape. The surveillance cameras capture him speeding through the streets, blending into the morning rush. He rides all the way to Central Park, where he abandons the bike. Not stopping there, Luigi ditches his backpack and jacket, shedding anything that might identify him. Then he hails a cab, cool as can be, and heads straight to Penn Station. Once there, he buys a ticket, boards a train, and vanishes. Allegedly, he's headed to Philadelphia, leaving the chaos behind in New York City. Luigi's escape plan? Flawless. By the time anyone puts the pieces together, he's long gone. As for Brian, the CEO who unwittingly became the target, his fate is already sealed. He doesn't survive the attack. The corporate world loses one of its own, but in the immediate aftermath, the story doesn't spark much attention. It's another shocking incident in a big city, quickly overshadowed by the endless cycle of news. But that all changes when a key detail emerges. The discovery of the bullet casings, etched with the words deny, defend, depose, turns this from a shocking murder into a national conversation. These 3 words, packed with meaning, shine a glaring light on Luigi's motive. The connection to health insurance denials, a problem millions of Americans have faced or will face, strikes a nerve. Suddenly, it's no longer just a crime story. It's a symbol of widespread frustration and injustice. And let me tell you, For those of you outside the United States, this is a reality that's hard to grasp unless you've lived it. Health insurance here isn't just a safety net, it's a constant source of stress, uncertainty, and for many, devastating financial ruin. The idea that someone could be driven to such extremes because of it, that resonates deeply with the American public. In America, the health insurance industry is entirely controlled by private corporations. There's no universal public option, no guaranteed safety net. Even if you're insured, faithfully paying your premiums every single month, it doesn't mean you're protected. When you get sick or injured, these companies often find creative ways to deny your claims. Their tactics can be ruthless, from obscure loopholes to endless red tape, and the result? You're left stranded, financially and emotionally drained, while they continue to profit. It's an infuriating system, and the public has been seething about it for years. So, when news breaks that Luigi unalived a healthcare CEO, the internet erupts. People are outraged, but not at Luigi. Instead, a wave of public sentiment shifts in his favor. Online forums light up with heated debates, but surprisingly, a large portion of people are defending him, saying the act was a form of justified rebellion against a corrupt system. Some even escalate the conversation, posting wanted posters for other health insurance executives, calling for broader accountability. It's a chaotic and explosive moment. Meanwhile, Luigi himself becomes an overnight sensation. His social media accounts, dormant before the incident, suddenly skyrocket in popularity. Within hours, hundreds of thousands of people flood his profiles, turning him into a viral icon. The platforms can't handle the surge, and his accounts are quickly taken down, but not before fans immortalize him through reposts, memes, and hashtags. Some people even start thirst trapping over Luigi, circulating shirtless photos of him, declaring how fine he is. TikTok becomes a hub of obsession, with videos gushing over his looks and daring actions. The wildest part? This isn't confined to one political camp. Support for Luigi cuts across ideological divides, uniting people from all sides of the spectrum. To them, Luigi isn't just a fugitive, he's a symbol. He represents the pent-up frustration and helplessness that millions of Americans feel about the healthcare system. A system that profits while people suffer. His story taps into a collective rage, turning him into a larger-than-life figure who embodies the fight against injustice. Whether they see him as a hero, an anti-hero, or something in between, one thing is clear. Luigi has captured the public's attention like never before. Meanwhile, the NYPD launches a full-scale manhunt for Luigi. They release a few grainy photos of their person of interest to the media. But here's the thing, they don't actually know who he is. Luigi has covered his tracks brilliantly, leaving behind almost no clues to his identity. Frustrated by the lack of progress, the NYPD announces a $10,000 reward for any tips that might lead to his capture. Shortly after, the FBI steps in, raising the stakes with a $50,000 reward. But here's the kicker. No one is talking. Despite the tempting money on the table, the public stays silent. Why? Because a surprising number of people see Luigi as a modern-day folk hero. He's become a symbol of rebellion against a system so many despise. The solidarity is palpable. People just don't want to snitch on the guy who took a stand, no matter how extreme. For 5 days after the shooting, Luigi stays completely off the radar. He's hiding out, keeping his head down, and avoiding anything that might draw attention. But eventually, hunger gets the better of him. Like anyone would, he needs food, and he decides to risk a quick stop at a local McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. He probably thinks it's a safe, low-key spot, just another fast food joint where he can blend in. But fate has other plans. While he's waiting for his meal, another customer starts eyeing him suspiciously. Something about Luigi seems familiar, and it clicks. The customer quietly alerts an employee, and that employee makes the call. 911. Within minutes, the police descend on the McDonald's, and just like that, bam, they've got him. Luigi's escape comes to an abrupt end. From there, it's all downhill for him. The authorities take him into custody, and the first images of his arrest begin circulating. Here's his mugshot, looking surprisingly calm, and here's footage of him being escorted by officers. It's the end of the road for Luigi, at least for now. Now, he sits in jail, awaiting what promises to be one of the most sensational trials in recent memory. Set to begin sometime in 2025, it's expected to be an absolute media circus. Every detail will be dissected, debated, and discussed. And you better believe the world will be watching. As for updates, I'll be following this story closely and keeping you in the loop as it unfolds.